The Olympic Games, they are supposed to determine who's the best at any given sport. Athletes from all over the world compete in what can easily be seen as the most competitive sporting event on Earth. But what is that competition about? Well, it's simple. It's about the physical capabilities of the athletes that are necessary for their respective sport. Reaction time, strength, endurance, or a steady hand. But here comes a question where the enhanced games come in. Athletes compete over physical capabilities, but what exactly does that mean? Is an athlete actually bringing his body to the absolute limit of what it is capable of? Well, the answer to that question is very simple. No. That is, if they're not on steroids. The Enhanced Games are a proposed sporting event that asks a simple question. What is the human body capable of if you combine talent, training and dedication with steroids, upgrading the body to its full potential? Is that legal? Is it ethical? And what does it mean for competitive fairness? Let's take a closer look. The organization was founded in 2023 by Australian businessman Aaron D'Souza. On their website, they also list Christian Engelmeyer and Maximilian Martin as co-founders. The goal of the organization was to put on the first sporting event where steroids are allowed. Their first event was supposed to take place in late 2024, but has been postponed to 2026. The Enhanced Games, according to their own website, embrace scientific advancements to push the boundaries of human performance. This, of course, is just a fancy way of saying what is essential to the event. There's no testing for steroids. Kinda reminds me of Pride FC back in the day when the contract specifically stated, "We do not test for steroids." But with the Enhanced Games, this is not written in the fine print of a contract somewhere, but rather the centerpiece of the organization's marketing. In their own words, the prohibition of performance-enhancing drugs is holding back humanity. So this organization's mission is not just to put on an event, make money and have athletes compete, but to scientifically advance human performance, a goal which critics have called human experiments. But who are the people involved? Well, most importantly, there's Aaron D'Souza, an Australian businessman and lawyer based in London, who initially founded the company. He actually has a pretty prestigious education, graduating from Oxford University. Initially, he made his fortune as a venture capitalist and tech entrepreneur. When founding the Enhanced Games, to him, there was more than one explicit goal. They did not just want to make money. Different reports say shit like he expressed trying to create a superhumanity and, quote, to end what he calls the hegemony of the Olympic Games and the hypocrisy of the anti-doping agency. D'Souza views the International Olympic Committee as the enemy. The Guardian quotes him saying, "The IOC has effectively been a one-party state running the world of sports for 100 years. And now the opposition party is here. We are ready for a fight. I know they're going to play dirty. I know they're going to threaten us. But ultimately, we know that we are morally correct." In regards to the performance-enhancing drugs, D'Souza says, quote, "Athletes are adults and they have a right to do with their body what they wish. My body, my choice. Your body, your choice. And no government, no paternalistic sports federation should be making those decisions for athletes, particularly around products that are FDA regulated and approved." Another founder is Christian Engelmeyer. He is a German businessman, entrepreneur and investor. He puts his hands on basically every unique investment opportunity out of the ordinary and is known for his ability to identify new trends and topics and capitalize on them. Even though he made his money initially with biotech, these days he invests in practically everything that has the potential to make money. Fintech, crypto, technology, life science, real estate, media, and things like psychedelics, as well as anti-aging and neuroscientific biotech. A frequent business partner in these endeavors is Peter Thiel. In regards to the Enhanced Games and his involvement, he says, quote, "I look at the world like this. What is the business model and how can we make money? I said, hey, this is a multi-billion-dollar idea." In line with Engelmeyer investing in unique business opportunities, he's also the founder of Atai Life Science, a company that develops psychedelic drugs for the treatment of psychiatric conditions. His interest apparently stems from his own experiments with psychedelic drugs. Fortune magazine writes, quote, "He now says he will trip on mushrooms in a legal setting twice a year. His home is decorated with psilocybin mushroom sculptures as a hat tip to this obsession." The last of the co-founders is Maximilian Martin. He has been a business partner and mentee of Engelmeyer for quite some time now. He was already a partner in Engelmeyer's crypto mining company. About his motivation and involvement in the Enhanced Games, Forbes quotes him saying, "Because I really like the investment thesis, the next human agenda. Forbes continues and writes that Martin invested the entirety of his profits from the successful sale of the crypto mining company and then some. Quote, plus alone, on the risk barometer I am deep in red. Martin is betting everything on the future as he envisions it. In regards to the criticism from international sports bodies, Forbes writes, quote, Martin disagrees with a great deal of passion for the cause and an inexhaustible repertoire of answers and arguments, and the grand vision of improved humanity. Many international sports bodies try to ban their own athletes from any regular competition if they choose to get involved with the enhanced games. More on that later. But Martin views this behavior as an attempt by the establishment to control, monitor and intimidate athletes. Martin also views the anti-doping policies as arbitrary and argues that certain substances have been banned and allowed over different periods of time. An argument that I find understandable, but I don't necessarily agree that it should result in an event simply allowing whatever could possibly be FDA approved. In a way, Martin and D'Souza are very similar in the way they view the current sports landscape. They both view the establishment organizations as the enemy, that are holding back humanity and ought to be defeated. Now, let's get to the athletics parts of the enhanced games. After postponing the first event a couple of times, it is now supposed to take place in Las Vegas on the 26th of May 2026. The featured athletic competitions that are supposed to take place as of now are swimming, running and weightlifting. Even though the official first event hasn't taken place yet, there has already been an event where the world record of 50-meter freestyle swimming has been unofficially broken by 0.2 seconds. It started off with the enhanced games offering $1 million to the first enhanced athlete if they can break the current world record of 20.91 seconds. This caused Australian swimmer James Magnussen to claim that he would, quote, juice to the gills and break the record within 6 months. And juicing to the gills he did. Just look at him in this documentary called The First Superhuman, put out by the enhanced games themselves. He probably didn't just see the world record as his motivation, since he said that the money would set him up for a decade. Sadly for him though, he was beaten to breaking the record by Greek swimmer Christian Golomeev. This of course was a private event and the record will hardly ever be seen as the official world record. In regards to the drugs they were using, it is unknown what helped Christian Golomeev beat the world record, but the Australian swimmer said that in order to break the record, he would be using testosterone, BPC 157, CJC 1295, ipamorelin and thymosin. Now let's look at some of the other athletes that are entering the enhanced games. These athletes are important to the organization not just because they are the ones competing, but they also provide credibility. High-profile athletes will make great marketing for this daring and boundary-pushing undertaking, since there is still an extremely high stigma associated with steroid usage, even though it is way more prevalent than the public would like to admit. And so there is a list of athletes, but whoever's in charge of that website doesn't seem to maintain it, since there aren't any information about them, besides their names. Right now there are 12 listed athletes, but you can find a bunch of news articles about more people being interested in competing. I won't go through the whole list, but here are some of the more high-caliber competitors. As I've mentioned before, there's James Magnussen, who is a two-time Olympian and former world champion of swimming, who won 16 medals in international competitions and also held the world record for 100-meter freestyle swimming. Then there's Christian Golomeev, the man who beat the world record. He's a four-time Olympian who won 9 medals in NCAA swimming competitions, as well as a total of 14 medals in international swimming competitions. Another record holder and the only woman currently listed on their website is Megan Romano. She's an American record holder of 200 yards freestyle swimming and 4 times 200-meter freestyle relay. Andrei Govorov is a retired Ukrainian swimmer and world record holder, as well as European champion of butterfly swimming. So as you can see, the swimming of the enhanced games is absolutely fucking stacked. But what about the other disciplines? Well, for example, for athletics, there's Fred Curley, who's a 2-time Olympian. He also won 6 medals in international competition and is number 10 ranked for the fastest 400-meter sprint in history. When it comes to competitive fairness, the basic argument by the enhanced games is that no sport with drug testing can ever be fair, since there will always be people who will cheat with using performance-enhancing drugs. But with the enhanced games, everyone has access to these drugs and therefore no competitor can do something that others cannot. It doesn't matter if one competitor takes testosterone or HGH or any other designer drugs, since they can all do it. And you know, when looking at this type of competition and the designer drugs they are taking, I think it begs the question, who exactly is competing here? Is it the athlete with all of his talent and dedication, or is it a doctor administering a performance-enhancing cocktail based on his scientific understanding? In a way, it's both. It's not just a competition of athletes, but a team effort of an athlete and a doctor combined. Now, on the other hand, you can say that this is already happening. Athletes competing in regular sports already work together with exercise scientists to find better methods of training and nutrition. I think that this is a very fair argument, and for the sake of playing devil's advocate, I think it's only fair to bring it to you. But here's the thing. There might be a difference. When we're talking about exercise scientists, we're talking about people trying to figure out how to improve on the already existing potential of the human body, while performance-enhancing drugs are trying to raise the potential itself. With trainers and exercise scientists, the question becomes who trains the best, whereas with PEDs, the question becomes who has the better pharmacologist and who's willing to take more of the potential risks from some of these drugs. Whether or not this is of any relevance, I'll leave that up to you. But I think that when it comes to competitive fairness, there is a point that I haven't really seen addressed. Look, the basic idea here is that there will be drug testing. PEDs are allowed as long as the substance is FDA regulated and approved and known to the public. And supposedly there won't be any drugs that are either harmful or actually illegal. So from knowing this, what can we conclude? Well, there are banned performance-enhancing drugs, just like in any other sport. The only actual difference is that there are more substances allowed than, let's say, with the Olympics. But why does that matter? Well, if you're saying that true competitive fairness is only guaranteed if all PEDs are allowed, then with the enhanced games, this ideal of competitive fairness is not actually given. After all, the athletes can still take more PEDs than even the enhanced games allow. And if there's supposedly so much money on the line, there's a huge incentive to do so. As a result, my guess would be that people don't just take the PEDs allowed by the enhanced games, but additional PEDs as well. And isn't that even more dangerous? Now, do I personally think that this event should be legal? Well, quite frankly, I don't really care. And either way, my opinion doesn't matter. What matters are the potential legal hurdles that the enhanced games could be facing. It, for example, depends on whether or not the substances that they are taking are legal or illegal, and depending on whether or not the potentially illegal substances are taken with the knowledge and approval of the company. What if an event that encourages substance use causes someone to get hurt from these substances, whether or not the drug they took in that instance was legal or not? That's not a PR problem. That might be a fucking courtroom problem. In regards to the success of the enhanced games, Aaron D'Souza is quoted saying that this event will be watched by 1 billion people. I mean, I like the optimism, but that's a ridiculous estimation and probably just the talk of someone looking for investors. But what do I know? After all, they are the billionaire businessmen. But we do have some indicators of what its success will look like. Their YouTube channel has a total of 7,820 subscribers as of now, with their documentary The First Superhuman having about 150,000 views, and the clip of the world record has 100,000 views. Their biggest success online is probably the Joe Rogan Experience episode, which has over 600,000 views, but that is with a built-in audience and can hardly be seen as an indicator of a billion-dollar idea. Lastly, let's talk about the pushback and criticism leveled against the enhanced games. As you can imagine, the established international sports bodies were not happy with the idea of a private for-profit enterprise challenging one of the core concepts of modern sports. In regards to the enhanced games, the Olympic Committee released the following official statement. Quote, "As athletes, we believe that the enhanced games or any event encouraging the use of performance-enhancing substances and methods are a betrayal of everything that we stand for. Most importantly, these events undermine the integrity of sport and the responsibility athletes hold as a role model in society. Promoting performance-enhancing substances and methods sends a dangerous message. Such substances can lead to serious long-term health consequences, even death, and encouraging athletes to use them is utterly irresponsible and immoral. No level of sporting success is worth such a cost." Criticism also comes from many, if not all, anti-doping agencies you could possibly imagine. The World Anti-Doping Agency writes, quote, "WADA condemns the enhanced games as a dangerous and irresponsible concept. The health and well-being of athletes is WADA's #1 priority. Clearly, this event would jeopardize that as it seeks to promote the use of powerful substances and methods by athletes for the purpose of entertainment and marketing. Over the years, there have been many examples of athletes suffering serious side effects from their use of prohibited substances and methods. Some have died." Actually, the take they have is pretty drastic, I will say, though this probably stems from them being so directly involved with the matter. They continue saying, "We invite all our clean sport competitors, including athletes, to join us in condemning this event." To be clear, the entirety of their argument against the enhanced games isn't necessarily based on the athlete's health. There are plenty of other grievances. They also say that the goal of the organization is to play down the risks of performance enhancements to sell products. Now, I don't know how accurate this is, but but the company does sell TRT, so I imagine there would be some incentive to trivialize the usage of such substances. They continue writing, WADA wants athletes and support personnel who wish to participate in sports regulated by the World Anti-Doping Code that if they were to take part in the enhanced games, they would risk committing anti-doping rule violations under the code. And this statement plus similar ones will play a major role in what will eventually end up in an antitrust lawsuit. So for context, the statement I just gave was not the only one of its kind. Similar to the threat of punishment by the World Anti-Doping Agency, World Aquatics issued a statement and a penalty for anyone who would involve themselves with the enhanced games. They created Bylaw 10 as a reaction to the enhanced games, and it states, quote, "A relevant person shall not be eligible to be accredited for and or participate in a World Aquatics event or competition, to be employed or engaged by World Aquatics, to be elected or appointed to any World Aquatics committee or to any World Aquatics office, or to participate in any other activity organized by World Aquatics." Above it, it states what a relevant person is. Quote, "A relevant person means any individual who is presented by the National Federation of World Aquatics for registration to participate in a World Aquatics event or competition, or as a candidate for election or appointment to any World Aquatics office, and at a time when they were not subject to the rules and regulations, actively supported or endorsed a sporting event or competition that embraces scientific advancements that include the use of prohibited substances or prohibited methods defined by the doping control rules, participated in any such event or competition, and or supported, example given, as a coach, trainer, manager, any other person in their preparation." Now, these were a lot of words to say that World Aquatics decided that if you get involved with the enhanced games in any capacity, you're done when it comes to World Aquatics. Persona non grata. This rule already had its effect since someone was already banned on this basis. Brett Hawke worked for the enhanced games as a trainer and was subsequently banned by World Aquatics. And I'm not done with the legal talk, since these rules and threats by the established sports bodies resulted in the antitrust lawsuit by the enhanced games. An antitrust lawsuit aims to prevent practices that unfairly limit competition in the marketplace. The enhanced games allege in a 74-page document that World Aquatics, US Swimming, and the World Anti-Doping Agency, quote, "are breaking antitrust by telling athletes to not participate in the enhanced games." This, of course, is directed at the rules and regulations prohibiting members of the organizations from getting involved with the enhanced games. The lawsuit asked for at least 200 million in compensation and possibly up to 800 million, but it was ultimately dismissed. The court said that there wasn't enough evidence that the organizations involved were working together in any kind of conspiracy. For example, World Aquatics rules don't require US Swimming to do anything specific, so there was no sign of coordinated action. The court also found that banning athletes from certain events doesn't shut them out of the entire market for swimming competitions, especially since the enhanced games themselves admit that these groups don't control the whole market. As of now, the enhanced games say that they might continue their legal action by challenging the decision. While this is happening, they seem to go forward with their plan to make this event happen. I mean, what other choice do they have when they have already sunk so much money into this enterprise? Anyways, even though there's so much more to this event, I think you got the basic overview of the whole thing. Let me know what you think about this event in the comments. Do you think it's a good idea? Would you watch it? And do you think it would actually be a fairer competition if everyone was doped? Let me know, and thanks for watching.